Hello everyone and welcome to A Red String of Fate. This is the second time I've had to re-record an episode because of the background music being too loud, so I decided to just turn it off. Same as in Love is Strange. I may add some background music of my own, but probably not. I recorded this episode ages ago, but you know, the music was too loud as I said, so I'm here doing it again. So we just spoke to Grandma. I believe she told us something about like an aunt who could also see the red strings, so we're learning things. And I am coughing a little bit. I have like a tickle in my throat, which is why I'm kind of talking weird. I mean, I always talk weird, but you know, because I'm choking. So if my voice is weird, that's why. I try to stifle a yawn, drumming my fingers against the table, my mind whirling. Thank God today is a slow day at the library, so I can spend my shift thinking about what to do for my end of semester assignment instead. Propping my head up with one hand, I go through my list of possible interview candidates in my mind once again, still feeling dissatisfied. No, I need someone better. Someone whom I can actually have a shot at getting an interview with, and someone with enough of a wow factor that would get me good grades. Someone less boring than the editor of the school newspaper. Ugh. I scowl in frustration, wishing I had more connections in the journalism world. What's the matter, Val? Who upset you? At Luke's voice, I lift my head with a warm smile. Hey Luke, what are you doing here? You need to check out some books? Not today. I was just passing by. I'm gonna kind of turn his voice into this because it's easier for me to do. Instead of just kind of talking low like this, I can sort of change it up a little bit, you know? Not today. I was just passing by and I remembered this is your shift, so I figured I'd pop in to see how you were doing. Clearly I was right to come, since you look like you're about to tear your hair out. I am. Go stand up for your best friend and tell Professor Hodge that his end of semester assignment is the worst. Luke leans against the table, an amused glint in his eyes. What is his assignment? I'm supposed to find someone worthy to interview, and then make a video presentation, as well as a report on a topic of my choice. Luke pulls a sympathetic face, his fingers playing with a stray thread on his sweater. Sounds like a lot of work. Yeah, but the worst part is I don't know who I'm supposed to interview. It's not like I can just choose any random person on the street to interview, but I don't have any connections with important people in the journalism field to ask for an interview either. I let out a growl, my hand flying to my hair and tugging in frustration. Luke's hand lands on mine, stilling it. Don't, you'll hurt yourself. Somehow my anger wanes when faced with his gentle, concerned smile, and I let my hand fall to my side with a sigh. Sorry, I'm just really stressed about finals next week and the assignment that I have yet to finish. Luke tilts his head, a thoughtful look on his face. About the assignment, I think I may be able to help. My gaze darts to his, stunned. You can? I plead with him with hopeful eyes, and Luke chuckles, running his hand through his hair. I probably could. My grandfather was friends with a few journalists and newspaper editors. Right. His grandfather was rich, wasn't he? I'm sure Luke must have had some family connections. He's usually so down-to-earth and frugal that I keep forgetting that he's actually from a rich and probably powerful family. Though I don't really know for sure. He still doesn't talk about his family very much. Sorry if you heard my stomach, I haven't eaten yet. At that thought, I can't help but frown, irked as always by Luke's secretiveness and tendency to keep personal things to himself. I'm thinking of maybe Christopher Henson? My mouth pops open, and I can only stare at him in silent disbelief as he continues. He used to be one of my father's best friends, I believe. He still keeps in contact with me every now and then, so I could probably ask him for an interview if you'd like. I'm not sure how soon he can fit us into his schedule, though, so it might leave you with little time to finish your assignment. If you'd rather talk to someone else, I can try to think of another person. Are you kidding me? Christopher Henson? I'm not going to shout. The editor of the top-selling newspaper in the country, The Times? Luke chuckles, his eyes sparkling with amusement at my reaction. Volume, Valerie. How am I supposed to stay quiet after you casually told me Christopher Henson is your family friend? I take that as a yes, you'd like to meet him for the interview. Of course it's a yes. I take a deep breath, trying to calm myself. In that case, I'll email him tonight and let you know the time and date when he replies. Promise? Of course. Overjoyed, I throw myself at him, wrapping my arms around him in a hug. Oh, here we go. Their hair is so sparkly. Thank you, thank you. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm going to get to interview Christopher Henson, the youngest ever editor of the biggest newspaper of America. Do you know he's been my idol for years? This is amazing. You're a lifesaver, Luke. It takes a minute before I realise Luke has gone still in my arms without a word. Luke? I lift my head to look at him and freeze in shock. I was about to have a heart attack. I hadn't expected his face to be so close to mine. So close that I can feel his breath against my lips. A strangled sound escapes my throat, both of us still frozen. The colour rushes into his cheeks and his lower lip disappears in between his teeth. I can feel the warmth rising to my cheeks. There's an odd fluttering feeling in my stomach and I feel short of breath, as though I had just finished running a marathon. Less than a second has passed, but it feels almost like an eternity as we continue staring into each other's wide eyes. Slowly, Luke's hands shift until they rest on my waist. His touch burns me even through my clothes until I'm sure it will leave an imprint of his hand on my skin forever. His eyes flicker to my mouth for the briefest of moments, and I realise with a start that I've seen this gesture happen in romantic comedies 100 times before. Luke wants to kiss me. I only have a split second to decide what to do, even though a part of me knows that regardless of my choice, the line that has been crossed can never be undone. Let's do it! I'm sure there are a million reasons why I should not let this kiss happen, with the fact that he's my best friend and I'm waiting for my soulmate at the top of the list. Yet somehow his intoxicating dark eyes make me forget all the rational reasons in this moment, and I can only stay still, waiting, anticipating for him to close the gap between our lips. My eyes flutter shut, and almost immediately Luke sucks in a deep breath loudly, wrenching himself away from me. My eyes fly open and I look up at him in confusion. What? Luke's rubbing his neck with one hand. His cheeks are fiery red that matches mine. Oh yeah, okay. I thought that didn't make sense, so I kind of changed it, but it does make sense. I'm stupid. His cheeks are fiery red that matches mine, unable to meet my eyes. You're welcome. It takes me a moment before I can remember what I was thanking him for, and when I return to my senses, I take a few steps backwards, feeling both mortified and bewildered. Mortified. Right, thank you again. Let me know when you have the good news. I need to go sort some library books on the shelves before my boss yells at me for slacking off at work. I'll see you later. I practically trip over my own 2 feet in my haste to make my escape, and I don't dare breathe until I've turned a corner, hiding behind some bookshelves. Panting to catch my breath, I close my eyes, leaning my head against the shelf. What in the world just happened? Looking around to make sure everyone is too busy to pay attention to me, I sneak around the corner, leaning against the wall to catch my breath. The world continues to spin around me, making me feel off balance even as I'm standing still. The feeling of nausea almost overwhelms me for a moment, but I close my eyes, attempting to swallow it down. Luke's concerned warning from months ago about overworking myself flashes across my mind, and I frown, pushing it away. Damn it, I don't want to think about him right now, and especially not about how he was right when he said I'd end up making myself sick with exhaustion. Hang in there, Val. Just 2 more hours until you can go back to your room to rest. Val? Val, where are you? We need you at table 5. I don't remember if that was her voice. Taking a deep breath, I wipe the sweat from my forehead and prepare myself to go out and continue serving customers. Coming! Alright, you can do this, Val. Just don't faint or throw up on anyone. You can do this. Faking a warm smile on my face, I stumble towards table 5 to take their orders. In my dizzy state and with my blurry eyesight, I fail to recognise the person sitting at the table until it's too late to escape. Val? Luke? Panic bubbles up inside me, and immediately the memory of being in his arms, his face a hair away from mine, resurfaces in my mind. Oh God, I'm not ready to face him yet. He notes the rising panic in my expression and reaches out to grab my arm. Oh no, you don't. Don't think about running away. You've avoided me long enough. I'm not avoiding you. I give him a weak smile, which he doesn't return, and he continues staring at me suspiciously. I'm sure you aren't. Look, I just want to talk to you, Val. Luke releases my arm, his hand reaching up to run his fingers through his hair in frustration, and I take the opportunity to turn tail and run. Val, wait. Ignoring his shout, I sprint towards the kitchen as fast as possible, weaving around my baffled co-workers. Unfortunately, I'd forgotten one very important thing, my dizziness and pounding headache. My pace slows to a crawl as the world begins spinning once again. I'm reminded of the unpleasant feeling I got when I was 6 and got on the spinning teacup ride at the amusement park right after a heavy lunch. Val? His voice is much closer now, but I'm beyond caring at this point. Reaching out to grab something, anything, for balance, I only find thin air. Okay, I'm gonna have a drink because my voice is like croaky. Pepsi Max, in case you were curious. Val. This time, Luke's alarmed yell is right next to me, and I can feel a warm hand landing on my shoulder. Too late. Before I can say a word, the world melts into darkness. She's dead. Game over. Ugh. I groan, clutching at my forehead. My head feels like it's about to split open, and my entire body is weighed down with fatigue, making me unable to move. Val, you're awake. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. The fact that he's everywhere we go is kind of creepy at this point. Like, I know he doesn't have creepy intentions or anything, but like, the fact that he just happens to be everywhere that we are is like a little stalkerish. Are you alright? Feeling better? A hand slips into mine, giving a light squeeze. Too tired to open my mouth, I can only make a non-committal hum. Luke's thumb starts to rub gentle circles on the back of my hand, and I shiver from the pleasant sensations. Thanks to the comforting warmth of his hand that successfully distracts me from the pain in my head, it takes me a minute before I remember that I've been avoiding him for the last week after what happened between us in the library. Gah! I immediately pull my hand away, jerking upwards into a sitting position. The sudden motion makes my head spin, and I groan again, closing my eyes for a second. Val, just lie there and rest for a bit. Don't move yet. You fainted at the restaurant a few hours ago. You need to rest. Why are you here? I can see the flicker of hurt in Luke's eyes, and he turns away, his expression closing off. I could almost see a wall slamming down between us. I carried you to your room after you fainted. I was worried, so I stayed to make sure you're fine. Now that you've woken up, I'll just take my leave. I apologise for overstaying my welcome. Luke gets up stiffly from the chair beside my bed, walking towards the door. My chest feels tight with guilt, and I have no choice but to call out. Wait! Luke pauses, but doesn't turn around, his back still facing me. Thank you. You're welcome. I thought he'd leave, but instead his hand rests on the doorknob, and he twists his body slightly so he can look at me out of the corner of his eyes. You should have listened to what I said. Stop working yourself so hard. Next time, I might not be there to catch you when you faint. Yukor. I shake my head, cutting myself off. No, that's not the main point. I can take care of myself. No, clearly you cannot. I flinch at the harshness of his sharp tone. I've forgotten what the hostile Luke from when we first met is like. He seems to notice my reaction, and he softens, sighing. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have snapped at you. I'm just worried about you. You need to stop overworking yourself for nothing. You're going to ruin your own health. Anger flares up inside me, and I cross my arms, glaring at him. I've told you, it's not for nothing. Luke finally releases the doorknob and turns to face me fully. His brows are furrowed, and he has a scowl on his face. Yes, it is. Stop being so naive. You're not going to find your soulmate because we don't have one. You're going to kill yourself with exhaustion over a dream that was hopeless since the very start. I can't hold back my outraged gasp, and I struggle to my feet, brushing away the hand he reaches out to help me with my balance. It's like a reality show. What did you just say? Luke opens his mouth, likely to retort, but surprisingly, he closes his mouth without a word and simply glares at the wall next to me, sullen. Nothing. No, I heard you. If you think I'm stupid for believing that I have a soulmate waiting for me out there somewhere, well, my mind's still slow from my exhaustion and sickness. I fumble for a comeback. Failing, I blurt out the first thing in my mouth, and immediately cringe. Well, why did you almost kiss me last week at the library then? What? I'm sure the stunned expression on his face matches mine. What in the world did I just say? I can feel my cheeks burning, but I force myself to keep my chin up, holding my head up high. You say you don't believe in love, right? You think I'm stupid for believing in soulmates and true love still, right? Well, you're one to talk, considering you almost kissed me the other day. So much for not believing in romantic love anymore. I've never seen Luke speechless like that before, spluttering as the colour mounts in his cheeks. I can't help but enjoy my small victory. It was just an almost kiss. It doesn't mean that I'm suddenly in love with you or anything. People often kiss without it meaning anything, you know. Luke's loud declaration hangs in the air between us for what seems like forever before it finally sinks in. My stomach gives a painful twist, and I gasp, rendered speechless. Immediately, I can see the regret settling in Luke's expression, and he reaches out towards me, but I sidestep his hand. Wait, Val, I'm sorry. I didn't mean for it to come out that way. I didn't mean it. Did you not? To my surprise, I somehow manage to keep my composure, and my voice comes out cold, causing Luke to flinch away. Yes, no, I mean, I don't know. It depends. On what? You either mean it or you don't. Do you want me to mean it that way? Is he asking what I think he's asking? Luke stares at me with wide, dark eyes filled with regret and uncertainty. Strangely, his expression reminds me of a wounded child. Fragile, desperate, confused. I know what he's asking, but surely I can't. Our strings don't lead to each other. Hell, he doesn't even believe we have strings at all. Surely I can't be with him. He's not the one I'm meant to be with. Right? I can no longer hold his gaze, and I avert my eyes, studying the posters on my wall. I don't know. Luke's gaze falls to the ground, and for a long moment he stays rooted to the ground, silent. His hands curl into fists by his sides, and he gives a curt nod. Right, I understand. I'm honestly sorry for hurting you with what I said, both earlier about your soulmate and just now. The last thing I want to do is hurt you. I'm sorry. Please do try and rest. You need it. I hope you feel better soon. I'll see you around. He strides to my door, pulling it open with one swift motion. He seems to hesitate as he steps out the door, but before I can reach out to stop him, he's gone, hurrying down the corridor and out of sight, leaving me to brush away the tears that slowly start to cascade down my cheeks. Okay, I'm going to end this episode here. I believe this is actually the same place I ended it the first time I played through this part. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope my croaky voice wasn't too annoying. And I'll see you all in the next video. Bye everyone.